Lewis Hamilton took the cheers from his home crowd and urged his team to keep trying to close the gap to the challengers for the Formula One title this season after claiming third place at the British Grand Prix. A combination of crashes, safety cars, problems to other vehicles and some fantastic late overtaking saw the seven-time champion finish on the podium after a campaign of struggle with porpoising and control issues in the new Mercedes car. But on a day when around 120,000 fans attended race day at Silverstone, Hamilton, who did briefly lead the race, praised the occasion as F1 at its best and hoped the performance could set a platform for improvement across the rest of the year. "We've had the biggest show up in history. Thanks for this incredible support. We don't see this anywhere else in the world," he said after the race. "I was trying to chase down the Ferraris. Congrats to Carlos Sainz, the race winner. They were just too quick for me today, but we've taken a step closer, so we've got to keep pushing. We lost a bit of time in the pit stop, so I was chasing. When you get a Red Bull behind you, they are so fast on the straights, but it's huge to be on the podium." The Red Bull driver who was behind him after the late safety car was Sergio Perez, who managed an incredible comeback after being last at one stage, ultimately finishing second. The Mexican was delighted with his ability to rise through the grid, with teammate Max Verstappen hampered by damage to his car floor. "We didn't give up and kept pushing, and the opportunity came at the end," he said. "I felt like I had the position and then Lewis was there. It was an epic final. My front wing got damaged pretty badly. I had to change it and went into last place. We recovered from there." Lewis Hamilton praised Charles Leclerc after their epic fight for position at the British Grand Prix and aimed a dig at Max Verstappen by saying the fight for position was a lot more sensible than his battle with Verstappen in last season's race. Hamilton and Leclerc fought wheel to wheel for third position over 3 incredible laps at the dramatic conclusion of the race. At one stage, Leclerc reclaimed position around the outside of Copse, the same point of the track where Hamilton and Verstappen controversially collided last year. Like that incident, Hamilton had the inside line again, but Leclerc passed around the outside without contact, something the 7-time world champion was quick to reference after the race. "Charles did a great job. What a great battle. He is a very sensible driver, clearly a lot different to what I experienced last year," Hamilton told Sky Sports after the race. "At Copse, for example, the two of us went through there with no problem. What a battle. Really amazing weekend." Last year, the FIA appeared to lay the blame for the incident with Hamilton, handing him a 10-second penalty during the race. Hamilton went on to win regardless. This year, Hamilton had looked a strong contender to repeat that victory, but he was left lamenting a series of moments he felt cost him dearly. "Definitely, for a while, it was feeling on. A bunch of things were against us. The start, we got up to third, then they pushed us back to fifth. Then I lost ground to Lando, so I spent a bunch of laps just trying to get past him. Then the gap was 5 or 6 seconds to the Ferraris, but I was doing good time catching them up. I did a good long stint and I thought, yes, maybe we can fight for a win here. But unfortunately, the gap was too big and the pit stop was not very quick. Then at the end, I just struggled with the warm-up and lost out to 2 cars. It was so tough today." Charles Leclerc said his fight to keep his place on the podium at the end of the British Grand Prix was on the limit. The Ferrari driver lost the lead of the race to his teammate Carlos Sainz Jr. after Ferrari decided not to pit him during a safety car period. Sainz did come in and took on a new set of soft tyres, which helped him to pass his teammate on worn hard tyres. Leclerc then came under attack from Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez, who had also fitted fresh, soft tyres during the safety car period. He defended hard, but eventually lost position to both drivers and came in fourth. The stewards noted multiple incidents during their fight, including one where Leclerc ran wide at turn 15, but eventually decided not to investigate any of them. Leclerc said the fight was quite on the limit. "I had to be on the limit to try and keep my positions," he explained. "I don't think I could have done much better than that. It was fun. On the other hand, I was very frustrated. In my position, I was on used tyres and all of this was very tricky," he added. "So I just had to use everything that was possible. I was always checking that Lewis was a bit behind at the apex to try and remember the rule and to play with the rules. So I tried to do my best. Leclerc successfully passed Hamilton around the outside of the high-speed Copse corner. The pair exchanged places at the same turn last year, where Hamilton also collided with Max Verstappen. "It was incredibly tricky," said Leclerc, "and actually, as soon as I passed the corner, I look in my mirror and I had a flashback of last year." Team principal Matteo Binotto gave Leclerc some encouraging words after the race, but the driver admitted, "The disappointment is big for me today. It's been a roller coaster of a race. The first lap I broke the front wing and I thought that was over. There was quite a lot of understeer. Then I managed to play around with my toggles and I managed to have a bit more of a strong front. Then the pace came back and we were very strong, and then the win was feeling more and more possible. Then obviously the safety car, and that was it. So it's frustrating." Having won 2 of the first 3 races, Leclerc hasn't won since. He said his misfortune is costing us a lot of points. And it wasn't just Charles Leclerc who enjoyed a battle with Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone. Sergio Perez said the epic final laps of the British Grand Prix reminded him of his junior Formula career, after the Mexican worked his way up to P2 following a great scrap with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, having been last at one point. Contact with Leclerc at the race restart, which came after a Turn 1 crash at the original start had brought out the red flags, forced Perez to pit for a new front wing, dropping him to P17 and last, and forcing him to put in a mammoth 35-lap stint on a set of medium tyres. But the Mexican then got his just desserts, as a lap 39 safety car allowed him to pit for fresh softs. From there, he engaged in a captivating duel with Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, Perez finishing second to maiden winner Carlos Sainz. It was getting difficult towards the end of the stint, keeping that pace, trying to open a bit of a window to Fernando Alonso and Lando Norris, trying to get the window on them. And then, when the safety car came out, it meant we were in P4, so it was a good chance. Then it was an epic final laps. Those laps really reminded me of the Junior Series, where we're all racing and having a lot of fun. Those final laps were a great fight with Lewis. It has been so long since we had a good fight, so it was great to have him back. And also with Charles. He was very aggressive but fair, and I'm sure the fans enjoyed it. The Mexican driver, still second in the championship and now 34 points behind teammate Max Verstappen, P7 at Silverstone, said he took the worst part of the lap 3 race restart battle against Verstappen and Leclerc. It was unfortunate with Charles on his first lap. There was not much room for 3 cars, and unfortunately I took the worst part of it. I got front wing damage, which on these cars it said it doesn't affect that much, but for me, I had no front end, so I was forced to pit, and basically I went all the way to last and just recovered from there lap after lap. At some point, it was looking like a P4, P5, and then we got in the mix for the podium, and we just went for it. The F1.com driver of the day did, however, admit that after clearing Leclerc and Hamilton, eventual winner Sainz was too far away for him to catch. He was too far. I think there were 3.5 seconds at some point, so he was just too far at that point. Austria is up next, Red Bull's eponymous venue, one on which Perez has a best finish of P6 in F1, with the sprint to return on the weekend of July the 8th to the 10th.